Okay. Test, test.
Fill me up,
Test.
buttercup.
Why don't you fill me up?
All right. Contrary to what you're listening to, this actually isn't a karaoke show.
Oh, yeah. This is the pre-recording. This is just
Right. Just a few seconds.
getting us before we go live.
That's right.
I'll go live for the actual stuff.
Oh, you know what? I forgot about the soundboard.
What you mean? You forgot that you've got one, or
No,
you
I've got to
forgot
turn it on.
You forgot to turn it on.
There's that. Where's that checklist, Bemis?
Hey, I've got everything else checked off except for the soundboard.
All right.
Well, while we're
Sure,
waiting
you'll
for
fix
that,
it.
then we'll get some coffee.
Yeah, there we go. See that all worked out, didn't it? That's what I say. People get all stressed out about stuff, and I always say, it's going to work out. It does. It always works out. Sometimes it doesn't work out in the way you expect.
You want to put some creamer in first?
Yeah. Yes, I will.
Ooh, they finally let Carl at work go.
Oh, your boss?
He
We're
wasn't
on
my
live
boss
right
anymore.
now.
He wasn't anybody's boss anymore.
You're online. You're online. You're at live.
Oh, hi.
Wow.
And that's the last of the commentary on that
Huh.
until the mics are off.
Wow. Amazing.
All right.
The Sunday Morning Linux Review, starring Mary Talmadge, Tony Venus, and Matt Enders as the Beaver.
And this is episode 140.
Deep kimchi. And Matt will explain why we named the episode thusly. Won't you, Matt?
Sure.
We'll go ahead.
I went out to eat with a friend of mine yesterday to a Korean restaurant for his lunch, my supper, and I had a pretty good meal. It was pork cutlet and with a peanut kind of dipping sauce. It was pretty good. But he ordered this thing that he sometimes orders, and it came with like a meat dish and then like 17 side dishes of these little different things. And he didn't eat very many of them, and he offered for me to sample them. And the only thing he said about them was he said one of them was pretty good.
Oh.
And so I tried that one, and it was pretty good. I'm really not sure what it was.
Yeah.
It was a little spicy. It was pretty good. Then another one was eggplant with some kind of teriyaki, but not teriyaki sauce. It was pretty good. And then I went to try this third thing, and he said, that's really not that good. And I said, well, I'm adventurous. I'm willing to try it. So I took a piece of it and put it in my mouth, and it was all I could do to swallow it. It was the most disgusting thing I had ever put in my mouth in my entire life.
Oh, no.
And Matt had just eaten some kimchi.
Yes.
And did you know that traditional preparation for kimchi often allowed it to ferment underground in jars for months?
Well, this tasted like it. It was disgusting. So I'm not a fan of the kimchi. I was drinking some Sam Adams beer, so I had to actually rinse my mouth out with the Sam Adams. It tasted like crunchy, salty cabbage that had a fishy flavor also, and it was just bad.
Yeah, that's a very bad combination.
It does sound bad. Well, Matt, good to see you made it through that meal
It was disgusting.
or that dish. And it's Korea's national dish.
Is it?
Yes.
Eric thought my reaction was very, very funny. Let's just leave it at that.
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, during the Vietnam War, apparently South Korea sent some troops to participate in the Vietnam War. Its government requested American help to ensure that South Korean troops, reportedly desperate for the food, could obtain it in the field.
Oh my God! Why would anybody be desperate for that? How
Oh, and
bad
that was
could the rest
courtesy
of
of
their
Wikipedia.
How bad could the rest of their food be?
I don't know. I don't know. But anyway, we better get going or we'll be in deep kimchi.
Yes.
So, all right. So that's part of what you did.
Yeah.
Any
I broke my website somehow, so I was going to announce my website this week, the new website, but I
it's
broke
down
it.
for repairs.
Yeah, I broke it. It just doesn't resolve to anything. So
So you're gonna fix it.
I'll fix it and I will announce it next time. So,
Okay. All right. Well, that'll be good. It'll be kind of closer to Christmas. And,
Yep.
all right. So
Yeah.
Tony.
Well, I'm gonna have a lot of website work also. We're changing servers, and so I'm gonna be
why are we changing servers?
because we're moving to a faster one with SSDs,
SSDs.
and there was a Black
Nice.
Friday sale, so it was half off
Ooh.
hosting for a year.
Ooh,
or for
yeah,
2
we
years.
had 20% off. We ran a 20% off sale.
Oh
Did
yeah.
it work?
I don't know,
Mm.
but yeah, so 20% off.
All right.
But I think ours is that's your price. That's what you're gonna pay forever.
Oh yeah.
Oh, really?
Hmm.
Kind of like the post office forever stamp.
Sort of, yeah.
I bought
Sort
I bought forever stamps 10 years ago, and I thought, I'm going to save these.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, so
That's worked out.
yeah, apparently haven't used them yet though, so it hasn't really worked out yet.
I use 6 stamps a year.
Yeah. We use 12, one for every month for rent.
Oh yeah.
I just pay I hand him cash.
Yeah. Well, if
Okay.
mine was close enough, we probably would too. Anyway,
All right. So the
So-
websites are migrating.
yep, my website's migrating. Hopefully, it'll run faster.
So how I mean, maybe in 25 words or 50 words or less. So how the
How do I-
steps the steps you take to do that? Do you basically just do a not a def but a DD?
Oh, wait,
Tar it
to,
up.
to-
right?
Yeah. Well,
to
because I don't have full access to the server, they're both shared hosting servers. So
Okay.
I have access to tar and SSH and,
Okay.
and shell, and
so you just do it that way.
that's why I tar it up.
Do you have access to
I-
our sync?
SEP it over. I don't know.
Mhm.
That would probably make it easier. Although because we're doing one site at a time, then I don't have time to do all of them at once. That's like
I
30
think you can
websites.
specify I think you'd be able to specify your directories.
Yeah, you're right. I could. And I'd have to run a separate rsync for
Sorry,
everyone
Tony, we
because
didn't mean to
if
put you on the
one thing
spot.
changes from the other
Right.
in the
Uh-huh.
middle of it or something, I
And you're
didn't
not
wanna-
necessarily the dev on some of these sites, right?
right. Yeah. So
Okay.
I'm just gonna do one at a time. Tar it up, SCP it over, untar it,
Mm-hmm.
and then re-enable it on the new cPanel, and
Mm-hmm.
then same thing for the database. Download the database. I have to edit a path. in
Right.
the
Export and
database.
import the database.
Yeah, and then edit the path in the database
Well, it's
for
still
the
going to be
files.
localhost.
No. The actual in the database itself for WordPress, there's a full path, not relative path, but what is where it's like /home /username / whatever.
Why
for
doesn't
where
it just use localhost 3306?
Because that's not how WordPress works in the database. In the database, it specifies the path of where the file lives, where the root of the website is, and it's by
Oh, where the root of the website is.
yes.
Yeah. I thought we were talking about databases.
In the database, it shows that.
Oh, in the
So I have to get
database.
into the SQL
Yes,
database
yes,
and
yes.
edit that.
Change that. Yes.
Yeah. And then put it up there, and then put the new and reconfigure the WordPress to point to the new database, because that name changes also.
Why would that name change?
Because the way cPanel works, it takes your username and prepends the database name with that. And because we're on 2 different servers, they're 2 different usernames, blah blah blah.
That's not the way I made mine with WordPress. I didn't use cPanel.
Okay, that's probably why. Anyway, so that's what I'm gonna be working on. I finished my 10-page paper, And now I have a 5-page paper to do.
It never ends. So
It doesn't. And I've got 4 years of this to go.
Wow.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's been my last couple weeks. Thanksgiving turkey. We had 3 Thanksgiving meals to go to, and
Wow.
it was good stuff.
All on the same day, huh?
No, it was spread out. Well, one was last weekend, Saturday for my family, and then Kim's family was one day, and then her step parent was that same day.
Okay.
But yeah,
Pretty good.
I worked.
Did you? I went to the Lions game.
Yeah.
They beat
Yeah.
the Bears.
They
And then I
did.
went to the parade, then I went to the Lions game on Thanksgiving. So it was
yeah, I
fun.
saw your
The
pictures.
Lions
Pretty
aren't going to
good.
win. Lions aren't going to win this
Yeah.
week. Or is it?
No,
No, they don't play this
they
week.
did win this week.
Yeah.
I need to
would be-
rephrase that, Matt.
I mean, the next Sunday, they're
Right.
not going to win.
Against Tampa Bay?
Not gonna win.
Oh, yes, they will. Anyway, well, we won't
What's their
belabor that
ranking
point.
right now? Are
What's
they?
that?
They're
what's their
actually
ranking?
tied with Green Bay, I believe.
Okay. And what
Or
is?
if the Pats
No, they're
beat,
behind.
yeah,
one
if
game
the
behind.
Pats beat Green Bay today, they'll be tied with Green Bay.
Yeah,
But
that's
they'll
right.
actually be ahead of Green Bay because they have the tiebreaker.
Until the last game of the season when they play again, and that might
Right.
change. Well, we'll see. Anyway,
So what is Green Bay's ranking then? You told me they're tied.
They're number one. Green Bay is winning the division.
Oh, okay.
and Detroit's nipping at their heels.
Wow, that's amazing.
It
I
is
can't
amazing.
believe
Go
from
Lions.
from like 3 years ago, or was it last year? They were like the number.
Every
The
other
last-
year they totally suck. So just pick one.
Yeah. But anyway, moving on past that, PCBSD, they released 10.1. I think we'll talk about that a little later in the distros, but I upgraded my system to it, and it mostly works pretty well. I have
Mostly works pretty well.
well, one little issue, I wanted to just check out the Lumina desktop to see how things have changed there. And when I log into Lumina, I'm thrown back out to the login screen, but I can log right. So I'm thinking it's probably a config file or there's some file in there that hasn't changed, because when my default is KDE, and when I log into the KDE desktop, it goes right in. But anyway, just something I'm going to sort out and figure out. But other than that, all the upgrades and things worked wonderfully. So I'm enjoying it. And the other thing I did is I went and bought Michael W. Lucas's book.
His new one.
Yes, I did. I bought the ebook, FreeBSD
I'm
Storage
waiting for
Essentials.
the print. I want to buy
And,
but I think the print is available.
and I think in our next episode, and in the spirit and tradition of Sunday morning Linux review book reviews, I'm going to review half of the book. I think I'll review the back half since you did the front half of that other book. Okay. All right. For people who may have missed that show about it, was it a year and a half ago or so?
Yeah. 2
Matt,
years ago.
Yeah, Matt got a book at was it PenguinCon? I think it was. Was
Yeah,
it
2
last
years
year?
ago.
2 years ago, 2012. PenguinCon was Absolute Open BSD, which was also by Michael
Yeah,
W. Lucas.
and he autographed it.
And he autographed it. So Matt decided he was going to review it and talk about it. Well, he only reviewed half of it. He was going to review the second half, but we're still waiting for that.
Yeah, you're
So
gonna wait
that's-
for a long time.
That's why I joked.
You know,
with him.
I have this really, really bad habit. I want to read all these technical books, and I have every intention of finishing them, but I start reading them,
Mhm.
and I get halfway through. Almost every technical book I have has a bookmark stuck in it at halfway, and then I get halfway through, and I say, "Oh, that's shiny," and I go over there to the new thing.
Yeah, and actually, I'm going to mention one thing about something I read in the book. You can use a master boot record or a GPT as far as outlining the partitions, or at least booting the system. What he said here in the book, which I thought was pretty interesting, is that older hardware can't recognize a GPT partition table, and we know that. They expect to see a master boot record to start at the start of the disk. Well, what FreeBSD does is it uses a protective MBR to give older hardware recognizable partition table and to help them then boot the GPT one, which I thought was kind of cool. So you can get there from here. And he, goes on to describe that. So I'll be talking more about it, and I will actually do the whole book. I was just joking on the half because I just felt so good to joke on
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
But anyway, so I'll be talking about that. That his books are very readable, very enjoyable.
I'm so notorious for that half a book thing that a friend of mine actually said, from now on, when you get a technical book, we're just going to add another book to the back of it that just says blah, 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 blah to double the length so you actually get through the whole book.
That's pretty funny. Well, see what you should really do is you break it up into the chapters. Just take each chapter, and that's
So you only want me to read half
Half a
of all the
chapter.
chapters.
oh, okay.
No,
Never mind.
I do the speed reading thing where you just read the first sentence of each chapter.
All right. So anyway, but that was my thing.
All right. And I see you got your tablet out because you have your book on there. What tablet do you have?
Oh, this is my old Asus. My Asus tablet.
Transformer?
Yeah.
The one that
That
was
is nice.
disappeared for a while,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
No,
No, that was the
my
7,
Nexus
right?
7.
Oh,
Yeah.
Um.
It disappeared under her seat in the
Yeah,
car.
in her
Yeah.
car.
behind
Matt,
it or
Matt
something.
found it, so that was pretty cool. But anyway, no, I just brought this because I wanted to refer to.
oh, I forgot about that. I did find that.
You did. So thank you once again.
No problem.
All right, where are we
I
going?
stood there and said, "Isn't that it?"
I know. And because it was vertical, it was between the
Yeah.
side of the car, the inner wall, and the seat, and I didn't even look down to see it. But your angle, you get a good view of it, and there it was. It was embarrassing, yes. Okay, we're even.
All right.
All right.
All right, coming up next.
Yep. Up next is
Matt, what's happening with the Colonel?
Next up is the Colonel,
Yes, Matt.
which I was totally ready for right here. I wasn't reading the IRC at all. And the main line is at 3.18-RC6, released on 11/23 of 14. Then the newest stable kernel is 3.17.4, released on 11/21 of 14. And then long-term kernel 3.14.25, released on 11/21. Long-term kernel 3.12.33, released on 11/20. Long-term kernel 3.10.61, released on 11/21. And then long-term kernel 2.6.32.64, released on 11/23. And that's the kernel news.
all right.
Thanks, Matt.
You're welcome.
All right, and
Okay. And then I guess next up is
Tony, what's going on with the Linux distributions this week?
the distros. So we have to go back to the 17th. So on November 17th, we have a BSD release, which is PC BSD 10.1.
hey, that's right.
So Mary, you're our resident guru on PC BSD.
Wow, I would say resident. I would not use the word guru in that, but
All right.
yes, actually, and in addition to release of the desktop version, the PCBSD team also has the server edition called TrueOS. And what's nice about that is that if you are running the TrueOS, it doesn't really have the desktop, the graphical desktop, but you do have command line access to all of the PCBSD tools like Warden, the snapshot tool that they have. So that's kind of nice if you're so inclined to run it from that perspective. And also, this particular release includes support for enabling the App Cafe. Now, the App Cafe is PCBSD's answer to, or their version of, say, the Ubuntu Software Center, where you've got quite a few different applications that you can download and install. But they've got support for enabling the web interface for remote usage out of the box. So anyway, but it was good to see that come out, and I took full advantage of it.
All right. Next up we have is Gruml.
Gurmel.
GRML.
Yeah, Gurmel.
Yeah, but yes, and the code name for this release is.
Geishing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I'm not
Matt,
even
you're
gonna
the
try
resident
that.
German guy.
Yeah.
Geishnasty.
Geschasti.
Schnagnasty.
Geschasti.
Yes. Now, Actually, I looked that up. I thought, I wonder if
Well,
that's.
Scheist is not a nice word
I
by
know,
itself.
I know it isn't. It's colloquial for fuss in Austria. I guess it's indigenous to Austria.
Hmm.
And but I think at least part of the country speaks German.
Well, I don't know. When I was
Quite a
younger
bit
and
of it.
with my Pennsylvania Dutch buddies, we used to call each other Scheistkopf.
Yes, I know. Had
It's something head.
Ah,
okay. Um, but anyway, so they've switched, and actually in this release of Gerbil, uh,
Gerbil.
they've they've switched the default file system from ext3 to ext4, and they've also provided a debug option for very verbose execution if you need to
And
make use of
also,
that.
they have changed the default shell, I believe. The default shell is now ZSH.
There you go. It's starting. The world is starting to shift.
Bah humbug. Bash forever.
So anyway, but yeah, there you go.
all right. And next up we have is the Univention Corporate Server 4.0, or also known as the UCS. And they are for, as it sounds like, corporate servers and enterprise level distribution.
Yeah, this particular release of UCS, what they've done with the installer is at least on their website they said they simplified it significantly. So now the base installation, it uses the Debian installer, which I guess probably is simple. It's very kind of basic to look at, but it does the job. And it concludes with a web-based system or web-based screen for system configuration. And it also is used, that web-based wizard is also used for manual configuration of cloud images and other appliances if you're using those. So, and apparently they've also done some improvement of the Open LDAP directory service. And UCS now supports installation on systems using UEFI Secure Boot. So if you've got that in place, they can handle it.
All right.
Next up.
Next up is another BSD release. It's NetBSD 5.2.3 and 5.1.5.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, they are legacy versions. But yeah.
Yeah, they apparently they actually on their website they had a little reminder / warning to people saying that with the upcoming release of NetBSD 7.0, although they didn't really go into detail about when that's going to be out, it's going to bring about the end of support for 3 different branches: NetBSD 5, NetBSD 5-1, and NetBSD 5-2. But they said they're going to provide a grace period of about a month. But now they said it's a good time to start thinking about the upgrade paths. So just a heads up for anybody.
Wait a minute. They're going to discontinue support for 5.2? 5.2 is the most current, I thought.
Well, this is when they come out with 7. It may be, but
Wait
they're
a
gonna.
minute. What is the most current NetBSD? Are these not the most current BSDs? NetBSDs?
Now, usually when it says it's the project's legacy versions, then it's usually not.
Oh, shit. Yeah, I missed that line.
All right.
Never mind. I retract everything I said.
All
Okay.
right.
Not forever.
Everything?
Just for this.
All right. And next.
All right. Next up is Gaudia Linux 9.
Guada.
Or Guada Linux, which is a Linux
Espanol.
distribution developed by the Council of Economy, Innovation, and Science of the Government of
Andalusia,
Spain,
Mm-hmm.
to facilitate the access to information technology for all citizens of Spain, of the Spanish province.
Mm-hmm.
Blah blah blah. It's
So it's
based on
official.
Ubuntu.
Yeah.
It's based on Ubuntu. It has the Cinnamon desktop, while there's a light version also available.
that uses the LXDE desktop.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's cool. Cinnamon's awesome. I even put it in my coffee.
Yeah, that's what I tasted this morning.
That's right. No, that's pretty cool. Yeah, this is the first time I remember seeing it on here, at least with that logo. I don't know if they changed the logo. I remember
think
there
it's been
being
I
on
one
think
there
they
from
changed the
Sam.
logo and the name
Okay.
because Andalusia has had a distribution for a while,
Hmm.
but I believe they changed the name.
All right, that's got to be it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have anything to say about it.
Cool. All right.
Adios.
Yeah. Then on we go to Seduction.
Yeah, now I got stuff to say about that.
Oh,
Seduction.
Seduction.
14.1.
Oh shit! I didn't. I went straight for Dragonfly. I'm sorry.
All right. So, Mary, apparently you know much about Seduction.
I used to run it.
That's
I
right.
remember when you did. I remember that. And actually, this particular release, since the last previous final release, they've closed over 230 bugs. So they did a bit
Well,
major
you
bug.
You can't help but close a bunch of bugs when you're running Sid
200,
as
yeah,
your base.
Right.
You know?
because it's cutting edge. But they also ship a version called No X, and that's as the name implies, there's no X environment, so
Yep.
it's just straight on command line. So you're going to have to use the CLI-installer as root to run that installation if you want to use it. And also a year ago, this is back I think in December of 2013, they decided to release with System D while Debian was still discussing which init system to use.
Speaking of which, I have some news on the Debian System D front when we get there.
All right. Okay.
Mm.
Well, I'm on first on the edge of my seat. And they said they have a preliminary section on System D in their manual, and they plan to expand that and also translate it to other languages. And also, Tony, you might be interested in this. With in I think their dev release in October, they included Cinnamon, and it was pretty well received. So now Cinnamon is a full member of the Seduction flavor family.
All right.
So there you have it. And then also LXDE, and apparently that and Razor QT, they merged. I haven't really done much reading on that, but now they also have LXQT as a desktop in Seduction. And they were talking quite highly about that. Then they go on to say that the next release is going to have the Plasma 5 framework in there. This is the last release with KDE, the KDE 4 series. So, I mean, quite a bit of stuff on there. And they're offering ButterFS as an experimental file system in the installer if you want to use it. But they recommend backing up if you do.
Yeah, that would be a good thing.
Yeah. So.
All right.
Anyway, yeah, I think it was pretty. Oh, the only other thing they said, the installer for now has been reduced to its basic features until more sophisticated stuff works more reliably. It's a little scary. Of course, as Matt said, it's bleeding edge, and you might be bleeding after the install.
Yeah. It was fair. It was stable for what I needed it for when I ran it.
Well, they said due to some internal changes in Fdisk, some parts of the automatic partitioning have to be rewritten. As there was not enough time, they took that feature out. So I guess, so no one's going to be harmed because they removed that. So anyway, but yeah, so it was kind of a lot of major changes there.
Yeah. All right. So next up we have is Dragonfly BSD 4.0.1, and they're a fork of FreeBSD, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, they are. Well, no, actually, they might have originally been one, but they use the Hammer file system. They also this particular release now supports systems with up to 256 CPUs. Now this was up from 63 in Dragonfly 3.8.
Wow.
Yeah, and the PF firewall is now able to work in a concurrent manner on all of those CPUs. One other thing I thought was very interesting about this release when I dug into it to do some research is that the DRM/I 950 is the video driver, I think, for the Intel
915 chip.
Yep,
Yeah.
Exactly.
Are you going to talk about the only thing I was going to mention, the Haswell, the new support for the Haswell 3D graphics?
No, not at all.
Okay.
I'm not talking about that. This driver, well, listen, here's the interesting thing about this, and this kind of goes to the BSD philosophy, is that they their driver now is mostly based on the Linux 3.8.13 implementation, and is no longer similar to the FreeBSD driver. So what they've done is they've kind of shifted and taken some things from the Linux version of it. They said many Linux APIs and data structures have been implemented in the Dragonfly kernel in order to reuse as many parts as possible of the Linux i915 code without modifications. And that's kind of, I have heard them say this more than once, is that their focus is on having something working, and so they'll borrow from the other BSDs. Well, this is FreeBSD talking about, but I think it kind of spreads across the way. And so they just took this Linux one and they're just using that. I mean, they've had to, port it and maybe tweak it a little bit, but and not only that too, various tools they upgraded to from FreeBSD and NetBSD. So they borrowed those and brought them in. So.
All right.
Yeah. Cool.
One other thing about them, Alex Horning has added the cha-cha algorithm, an improvement of the salsa 20. I think he added a few extra steps, forward one, back one. I had to just say that.
That's good.
No, it's true. He did that, but I only did it because, anyway. By the way, too, they're still using the GCC compiler because, FreeBSD has gone over to Clang.
Yes.
And but some work has also been done by someone on the project in order to make the base system buildable by Clang. So I think you're going to see them start to shift over to Clang from GCC. And that for sure is the last thing I have to say about Dragonfly BSD.
All right. Did Matt have something to add?
Haswell graphics support 3D acceleration.
Awesome.
Thanks. Thank you, Matt.
All right. Next up on the 28th, we have 4M Linux 10.1, and that's the new stable for their lightweight desktop. And that's running JWM.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we talked about that. I think they came out with the 10.0 in October.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
And
yeah.
It has Flash Player plugin is enabled by default out of the box in Firefox, Opera, and Quapzilla and SeaMonkey.
Yes, and they also include support for quite a few more. They've added support for additional printers and scanners, and they also indicated on their site that there's a short guide on how to use and manage these devices. One of which is a virtual PDF printer. So this particular feature is enabled out of the box on 4M Linux 10.1, and by default it'll save the PDF in your home directory. But I think you can change that. So that's kind of a nice feature.
Yeah.
PDF printer that just is sitting there. Because normally I think the way when I print, say out of LibreOffice, I have to kind of change that. I mean, I have to. There's a couple of extra little steps, but it sounds to me like you can just click that as the printer, as a PDF printer, and then just go from there. Where I have to jump and do a few extra things.
Well, yeah, there's a few different things with LibreOffice. It does like an export to PDF.
Oh yeah, they've got that button. That's right in the toolbar. I forgot about that.
What's nice about the PDF printer is you can go to any web page or any application that prints and say print PDF, and now you have a PDF of it.
Yeah.
I've done that for years for my bills and stuff. Instead of having to rely on going back to the website to get it, I'll just print my bill off. Instead of printing paper, I'll print it to PDF.
Yep,
yeah, with Chrome, with the Chrome web browser too, you can print. I've print lots of pages.
Yeah, I found recently, or since I started using Chrome, 2 years ago, that I've forgotten to install the PDF printer, and then it'll go like a year, and then I'm like, oh wait a minute, why can't I print from whatever application? And then I'll have to install the PDF printer.
Because you're using the
Chrome one. Yeah. All right.
So.
Right, and the last on our list is Linux Mint 17.1. And as you know, and you may not know, that Linux Mint has moved to a more of a stable release based off of the LTS for Ubuntu. And so 17 is going to be supported till 2019. And .1 is just their minor release update, and it's codename Rebecca.
Excellent.
All right. So I guess that's it.
Is that it, Tony?
I think so.
So now we're on to
On to the top 5.
The distro of the week, according to Distro Watch, calculated by website hits per day.
All right. So at number 5, we have OpenSUSE with 1442.
And trending up
And number 4, we have Debian with 1522.
and trending down
Number 3 is Seduction with 1642.
and trending up.
Did you hear my voice? I was trying to be seductive.
It didn't work.
it didn't work.
I'm glad
I
it
didn't even
work.
notice.
That's what I meant.
Oh,
All
that's
right.
funny.
Number
I thought it was your radio voice.
Your big time radio announcer voice.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, number 2 is Ubuntu with 1730.
And trending down.
And in the number 1 spot is Mint
Gotta love that minty goodness.
with 2667.
And trending up.
And I'm impressed. Dragonfly BSD is at number 9,
Oh, wow, yeah.
which that may be probably one of the highest spots. And then FreeBSD is at 19. So there's a lot of, I don't know if you've noticed, but there seems to be a lot more interest in the BSDs lately.
Yeah. I think that's due to System D.
You got a point there, Matt. That may be the case.
All right.
Okay.
So next up, we have some news, right? I think that's where we're going next.
News?
News.
News?
It's time for the tech news of the week.
Did you say news?
I did say news.
News?
News?
Did you happen to find anything, Matt?
I do have one thing.
All right.
Debian has forked.
Oh, yeah.
They were threatening to do it, and they sent an announcement out. It's on list.dyn.org, lurker, messages, and then some big ass number. But I'll have a link in the show notes. And it's basically them saying, yep, we're forking. Here's why. We're not ready yet. When we get production ready, when we need developers, we'll let you know, but we're not there yet. And it's called Dev1 is how you pronounce it, but it's spelled DEVUAN. And they have a website, which is dev1.org, DEVUAN.org. So Debian has officially forked over System D.
All right.
Well, I wonder. Well, we'll see what happens a year from now.
I'm all for it. I mean, if I might switch to them if they get a real distribution up and running. So we'll see.
If they get a real distribution, is that sort of like the what is it, the Office Productivity Suite? That's that kind of that
Yeah.
same philosophy.
Yeah. They have to.
They're not a real distribution unless.
I
What
mean,
will-
something
What
stable.
will make them a real distribution in your mind?
Stable and current. If they can get a stable distro out that
Mhm.
also remains current in its packages,
Mhm.
I'm there.
Okay. All right.
Enough of the System D braha.
Okay. Well, good.
I'm done with it.
All right.
Actually,
You think
we
so?
haven't switched to it at work yet. It's my horror is just beginning.
All right.
All right. Well, good luck with that.
Yeah,
You know, I bet.
you live in a Windows world at work. So,
I do too.
No, now I live in a Cisco world,
oh yeah.
but all right.
That's its own horror, right? No, just kidding.
What's their OS called? iOS? Is it iOS?
It is.
Yeah.
And it was way before Mac
Yes.
came out with the iOS.
Yes, it was.
Hmm.
All right. Well, Mary, did you find anything?
Yeah, I've got. I don't know if you saw this. This is a little dated, but Mozilla, they end their relationship with Google, and Firefox will now default to Yahoo in the U.S. as
Really?
the default search engine. Yeah, this came out on, or this story came out in Ars Technica on November 19th. Apparently, Google's been paying Mozilla a ton of money each year, and I guess the estimates place it around $100 million for the privilege of being the default search engine used in the Firefox browser. Now, this contribution represented the lion's share of Mozilla's income. And I
Is
guess
Yahoo going to contribute the same funds?
They don't really. I don't think they really
Because
say
you know what
here.
Yahoo is, right?
It's a drink.
No, it's
no,
Bing.
it's Bing. Yeah, Yahoo uses all the Bing searches, and now
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
I remember the last couple of years they've talked about doing this each year, and then they just kept with Google. So now they
Right.
finally did it, huh?
Yeah, and it was it's a 5-year deal, and they're saying Yahoo. Oh, it was Yoo-hoo, not Yahoo. That's it. The drink, you know that little chocolate drink. All right, oh, I'm embarrassed.
You were the only one confused about that, Mary, but go ahead.
I was, but Yahoo is going to start honoring the Do Not Track feature. So apparently they haven't been up to this point. When used by Firefox users to limit Yahoo's ability to track user activity um, across the web through advertisements. So this is going to start next month, and by next month I'm talking December. And the financial terms have not been announced.
Yeah.
So I've got to. Well, I wonder. Yeah, I just wonder where the money is coming from. Microsoft.
Microsoft.
Okay, that was our first subliminal message, Matt. All right, so yeah, so there's that, and the other. I thought this was very notable, and this is back. Again, this is a little dated, but the Free BSD Foundation received a $1 million donation.
Yes, they did.
Yes.
Who was it from?
It was from. I'll say either Jan or Jan Korn, CEO and co-founder of WhatsApp.
Yeah, WhatsApp.
Mm-hmm. So it's probably Jan, Jan. Anyway, the
Juan?
CEO, Juan, the CEO and founder of WhatsApp. And speaking of WhatsApp, clearly they run FreeBSD servers, but I was listening to some of the talks from the Meet BSD.
California.
Yep, in San Francisco a few weeks ago, and his talk I found him to be pretty interesting, and it was just basically like 600 million people are free BSD users and they don't even know it, But
well, I mean, if you look at anybody with PS4, that's all free BSD under the hood.
Yeah. So
anybody watching Netflix,
yeah,
that's all on free BSD.
The guy from Netflix, so, I think he gave a talk too. Or no, you know what it was? He was the interviewee on BSD Now, the weekly podcast. And I found that interview to be very informative and entertaining. Sometimes tech guys can be a little dry, they're introverted and you have to kind of pry information out of them. But he was very talkative and engaging, and I enjoyed listening to that podcast. That's the BSD Now. But he was on Netflix.
What podcast was that?
BSD Now with Alan Jude. And,
was that on Alan Jude's podcast, BSD Now?
Yeah, and Chris Moore, who's the project leader for PCBSD. But anyway, yeah, so that donation definitely put them over the top for their fundraising goals for 2014. So that was pretty cool. And then the last news item I have was something that came out just a few days ago, and this is by Stephen J. von Nichols. And this has to do with NSA partners with Apache to release open source data traffic program. He kind of talks about the fact that in partnership with the Apache Foundation, the NSA announced Tuesday that it's releasing the source code for its Niagara files. The spy agency said that NiFi automates data flows around multiple computer networks, even when data formats and protocols differ. That kind of makes sense that the NSA would be interested in something like that when you think about the spider reach that they have.
Oh, yeah. And they do some really excellent, like they brought us SC Linux.
I know.
And,
I know.
And when people get all like, "Ooh, it's the NSA," but it's all open source. The code is there. It's been read. It's been reviewed.
That's right.
It's fine. Just because the NSA doesn't make it bad.
And there's a quote. I have a similar article. There's a quote saying that the NSA, if anything in the open source has a higher degree of compatibility than it would be from blah, blah, blah. I'm reading the wrong quote. No, but it was pretty much saying the same thing that it's open source. So if anything like a hidden back door was there, somebody would find it, and then everybody would hate the NSA at that point.
Well, hate them publicly. I don't know, but and then you know they created that. Do you remember? I think we briefly touched on it, Accumulo. This is an NSA created project. It's an NSA no SQL database that's store that's now supervised by the ACF. And they said more NSA technologies are expected to be open sourced soon.
Hmm.
Yeah, so I guess we'll probably see more on that front. Tony, that'll probably be something for you to kind of keep a watch on, from the security
Yeah.
thing. So anyway, and then I see on your laptop you got a big picture of the NSA headquarters.
Yeah. It's actually interesting.
They're
is
probably
there's-
watching you right from there right now.
They probably are.
So, anyway, but those are my news items, and I do have KDE Corner when it's time.
All right. I unfortunately don't have any.
So it's time for KDE Corner.
That's right.
All right, it's a brief one, but what I wanted to mention is that, and actually it's very brief because but Q Tractor, anybody who does any kind of audio, sound editing and music editing, that type of thing, is probably familiar with Q Tractor.
Tony, do you use Q Tractor?
I do.
All right.
Every single show.
Yeah, they just released 0.6.4.
Nice.
Yeah, so I've got a link to that in the show notes. I
All right.
promise.
It works really good.
Mhm.
I really like it. The problem with Q Tractor is you have to use Jack, and Jack is a pain to set up.
It's a real pain to set up.
Yeah.
So what? Door to Door Geek over at Podnuts, they set up him and what's our friend that he did our intros and stuff. What's his name?
Oh,
I can't think of his-
John.
John,
Yeah, yeah,
friend of the show,
John.
John Miller.
Yeah, they worked together and set up a VM, and everything is set up in there. All you have to do is crank up the VM, and you have it running.
Really?
So yeah, so that's
Oh,
why
that's
I've
so
been using
perfect.
that for
That is perfect.
yeah, just over a year now, and I love it. It works
Mhm.
really good.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Well, all right.
I know, and I could tell the shows just sound a little better.
yeah.
Is this VM available for public download or?
It's available upon request. He doesn't have it like as a public link to
Okay.
download, but if you email him, I think they have
How
an
many
Would he,
gigs-
updated version.
would
of
he
what
be
I
gigs is
have.
it?
opposed to us putting it up for public download?
I didn't ask. He
Well,
probably
we'll
wouldn't
ask.
be. It'd probably be
We'll
fine.
find
Yeah,
out,
I
and if
can
we
ask.
can, I'll put it on my site.
Okay. Yeah, it's like a 2 gig file.
Mm.
I don't have
For a VM, 2 gig is fairly
Yeah.
small.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And unfortunately, I don't have any news. So,
Okay.
I just found an article, but I want to read more about it before I talk about it. It's something
That's
about
always a good idea. Hey,
yeah.
well, you do that. I'm just going to quickly mention that a few days ago I was looking for I think I was looking for, and I really should be looking for this because Kate I think does a pretty good job. But this was the Notepad plus plus clone we were talking about. And maybe it was before we started recording. But anyway, I posted something about it on my Google Plus stream, which and I installed it too, and it's it looks, because I have the Windows version at work, it looks just like it, and it's a very nice text editor.
I for all my scripting and everything, I
Mhm.
use Kwrite in Vim mode.
Oh, really? You can do that?
Yes.
KDE, I tell you, isn't it just wonderful? I didn't know that. I didn't even know it had Vim mode.
Yeah.
Oh, excellent. Okay.
What does that give you? Like the Vim key bindings
Yeah.
for Kate?
Yep. Use all. Well, no, for Kwrite.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
KDE is so cool. They have 2 text editors, Kate and Kwrite.
Ah.
Yeah. Oh, one other thing I was going to mention too. You guys you may or may not remember this, but there was a Linux distro called Pear Linux.
It's still. I thought it was still active.
No, well, it kind of went off the
It's
board.
that one that's
It
supposed to
was-
be like a Mac clone, or
Yes, it was. It apparently it had been purchased by some anonymous company, and there was a lot of speculation that it might be Apple, might be Walmart, it could be Canonical, but there were just all this speculation that disappeared from view. Well, they just released. Well, it's back, but it's back is now Perl Linux,
Oh.
Pearl, not Perl, but Perl Linux 1.0. and it does have that, looks very Mac-like, but some of the early reviews of it, or at least comments from people who downloaded and installed it, say it's way too buggy to be a 1.0 release. So
Should have been a .9 release.
yeah, or maybe tack the word beta on the end of it, or something like that. So anyway, I wanted to mention that because I saw it, and because they had that pair with the little chunk out of it,
Right.
like Apple does.
Right, like it.
yeah. So anyway, but I wanted to mention that. So
Cool.
all right.
All right, and one thing Mary posted a few days ago about Notepad QQ, which is the Linux version of Notepad++. So I thought that was interesting. Did you already just say that?
Yes.
No. Just now?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh. How did I
Hey,
miss that?
I
guess
don't
I was
because you weren't
reading.
paying attention.
Oh,
No,
man.
you were focusing on that. Well, go ahead and talk a little bit more about it, because I did not go into detail. I just said that it was, that
Tony didn't
that
use
was,
it. He was just commenting that you
Yeah.
talked about it.
Oh, no, I installed it today.
Did you?
Oh,
Yeah, I
did you?
installed it,
Yeah, well, talk
and
about it. I mean,
it
what's
looks
your
really
initial
nice.
take on it? Because I used Notepad. I had a couple files I wanted to compare, and that you can do some file compare in Notepad++. Now I didn't have a chance to try it in Notepad QQ. Wonder why they use the initials Q. I don't know. But anyway, so I didn't get a chance to try
I
that
think-
aspect of it.
I think they used Q because the executable for Notepad++ is Notepad PP, and Q is just a flopped P, a mirror
Could
image of a
be.
P.
All right, that could be.
That's as good a reason as any.
I'll take it.
All right. No, but I brought up an SQL file that I was using, and actually, I was trying to do that update.
SQL.
Yeah, this isn't SQL right now,
Oh,
but
okay.
earlier I did.
Okay.
And the context highlighting is really nice.
Mhm.
At work, I just started using Notepad++, and you can add in your own languages. So I added in a one for Cisco, and so that highlights different parts of the Cisco config files, and
But that's
nice.
With Vim or Kwrite in Vim mode, you get the syntax highlighting too, depending on how your file's named.
Yeah.
Or if it's not named, it tries to do best guess. So sometimes when I'm doing stuff and I've got nothing in there to tell it what it is, best guess is wrong.
So it's not so best.
Yeah, but that was it. It looked really cool.
Good.
Yeah. So you know what? You know what tomorrow is?
Monday.
You beat me by about a half a second, Mary.
December 1st.
Yes.
So is there
Payday?
You don't happen to have any conventions for this month, do you?
I do.
I don't mean to spring it on you, but
Oh no, you didn't spring it on me at all, Tony. I do have the Linux convention scene.
all right.
So, and December has traditionally been kind of a slow month because of the holidays and all of this. However, my intrepid digging and researching did net a few conventions this month. For example, okay, stand by because this is in Spanish. The Simposio de Tecnologías de Software Libre. This event will bring together top Linux and open source leaders from the local communities, universities, and Intel's Open Source Technology Center. What they did to create their agenda was kind of interesting. To ensure the agenda is highly relevant to attendees, they've curated the content based on the initial feedback they got. So early registrants said, "Hey, I'm really interested in this." So what they did is they then took that and worked it into their agenda. Now this is December 5th and 6th at Intel's Guadalajara office in Guadalajara, Mexico. So I'll have a link to that.
Woohoo!
All right.
All right, thank you, Matt. Thanks for your support.
Anytime, Mary.
Your enthusiastic support. The next one is Now, this is WordPress in schools and government. This is a New York City happy hour. So, I mean, at least for that part, I'd go. Getting the most out of WordPress. They will have members of the local WordPress community. And again, anybody who happens to be in the New York area is listening to this on December 4th from 5 to 8 at the Marriott Marquis Times Square in New York. They'll have this WordPress in schools and government. So they're going to have somebody from the Newark Public Schools to share his story on how he built the school's website using WordPress. You'll also hear from there's somebody else, a couple of other people too, who are at the forefront of the WordPress world, and highly involved in the successful Newark Public Library story. So you could tell I'm having to dig a little deeper for conventions this month. And then on December 8th through the 10th in Liverpool, England, we've got Tech 14. This is kind of a specialized convention. It's for the Oracle user group. Over
Bah humbug,
Yeah, I
boo.
know. I did that for you, Matt. You're going to I think they got over 200 world-class speakers, and it's a pretty big convention over there. Yeah, world-class speakers and industry experts will meet 8th through the 10th of December for this exhibition. You can learn the latest information, how to use a cloud, mobile, and analytics to get the best out of your current system. And I think they're going to have some information, some open source segments in there too, but not much.
No, because it's
So
Oracle.
I know, but I had to mention it. And then, last but not least, we've got MongoDB San Francisco. Wondering why everybody is so excited about MongoDB? Want to learn how to start using MongoDB?
Ooh, yes. Ooh.
Want to learn how to start using MongoDB to build and manage modern applications?
Yes, Mary, yes.
Already a power user, but looking to deepen your skills?
No.
If you answered yes to any of the above, I think Matt answered to 2 of them. I left out the rest of the questions because I think you get the point. Then the MongoDB SF is the event for you, and that is at the Mission Bay Conference Center in San Francisco, California, and that's this Wednesday. But there's a charge to attend it, but it's a jam-packed day of all sorts of information. It's $149, but again, it's December 3rd, 2014, out in San Francisco, and that, ladies and gentlemen, includes December's convention scene. Linux and open source.
Concludes.
Yeah, for this month.
It's over.
It is.
We're done with it.
We're done with it.
All right.
Put a fork in it.
All right.
Back to you, Tony.
So next up is the
Tools from the toolbox.
The toolbox. And what do we have this week? We have Apache Bench, which is a benchmarking tool for the Apache web server. Surprise, surprise. Yep. And it is designed to show you how the current Apache installation performs. This especially shows you how many requests per second your Apache installation is capable of serving. First thing, you have to install it. On CentOS, you can do this with yum install HTTP tools. On Debian, you can use apt-get install Apache 2 utils. Now, you don't have to have the Apache web server installed on the machine you install this on, because these are just the tools. So, yeah.
We're speechless.
Yeah. Now, to actually test the site, the AB commands will be formatted like this. AB-N for the number of requests, -C for concurrency or the number of concurrent requests you would like.
Okay.
And then the address, the port, and the path.
Okay.
Okay. The port is not necessary, as I have LOMG, LOMG, but I mean as long. The port is not necessary as long as you are using standard ports, e.g. 80.
Okay.
And the path is not necessary if you just want to hit the main landing page. But if you want to hit any sub landing page, you'll have to give the whole path to it.
Okay. That's the hard path, not any relative.
Well, it's the web path.
Okay. Oh, I got you.
And my sentence
nature
doesn't
pours
really
a vacuum.
my sentence doesn't make a lot of sense. I wanted to say.
Well, go ahead. Well, say it anyway, Matt.
I'm not going to read my sentence. It just absolutely does not make sense. What I wanted to say was that, okay, and in my tests, what I did was I used 10,000 requests with a concurrency of 25 requests. Okay. And when you're inputting the address, see, it's out of order. This should have come before that. When you input the address in to do the check, like you couldn't say www.google.com. You would have to say www.google.com/. You have to put the trailing slash in, or AB is going to throw an error.
Okay.
Okay. So what I used was, and I used example.com. I ran this against example.com. So I said AB-N 10,000-C25 http://example.com/. And then it runs the test and gives you your results. It starts off, the first line tells you what version of Apache Bench you're running. And then it gives you the copyright notice. I really don't understand why, but it does. And then it gets on to your actual requests. So since I ran 10,000 requests, it does them in batches of 1,000. So it says completed 1,000, completed 2,000, completed 3,000, all the way up through 10,000. And then it says the last one is finished, 10,000 requests.
Okay.
And then it tells you your server software, which in this case was ECS, which I have no idea what ECS is.
I don't either.
So, and then it tells you the host name, which was example.com, and what port you hit. And since I didn't specify a port, it hit port 80. And then it tells you the document path, and since I didn't specify any specific page, because example.com doesn't have any pages,
Okay.
it just says / for root, the document root. And then it tells you the document's length, which in this case was 1,270 bytes. Then it tells you the concurrency level you did it at, and I did it at 25. My test ran in 6.889 seconds to complete 10,000 requests. Failed requests were 0. The total transferred was a lot of bytes. HTML transferred was a lot of bytes. And it served 1,451.57 requests per second.
Wow.
So it's a lot. Yeah. So it's running on some pretty good hardware, but it's also not serving up much of a web page.
Sure.
The time per request was 17.223 microseconds, and that was the mean. I don't understand. Oh, and then across all concurrent requests, it says it was 0.689 microseconds. So I'm not sure what that means. I'm really not. I apologize.
Okay.
Because then we get down into here, and the connection times are what's important. So in the connection times section, this will provide you with the valuable information. So you see that it returned requests at a rate of 1,451.57 a second. Also, that the fastest request was returned in 16 microseconds, with the slowest taking 30 microseconds. It also allows you to test the concurrency. This can help with identifying any possible race conditions or locking issues. Concurrent requests are also more natural simulation of load, because if you just tested one request at a time, that's not the way.
Yeah, you need multiple simultaneous.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, makes sense.
So if you wanted to test multiple URLs concurrently as well, you can do this by creating a shell script with multiple AB calls, and at the end of each line, place an ampersand. And we all know what the ampersand does in Bash, right?
No, what?
It combines 2 commands.
Concatenates?
It doesn't continue without the previous one running properly. No,
that's what double ampersand does.
Oh.
A single ampersand puts it into the background and then starts running the next thing. So one doesn't have to finish.
Oh, so if you precede the command with an ampersand?
No,
I knew that.
Prepend.
I knew that. I was just
Prepend?
testing you.
Precede. Yeah, go
No.
before.
Go after.
It goes at the end of the command.
Prepend. Append is after.
Append. Yes. Sorry. You got me confused with your precede.
All right.
Append.
All right. So it's the command space
Yeah.
ampersand.
Yeah. And
Okay.
then it puts it in the background. So that the next command can start. And then you can stack up a whole bunch of AV commands that way.
Oh yeah, that would be good.
And then you would redirect the output of those commands to a file
Mhm.
so that it
So you can examine them
didn't.
later,
Yeah.
research them later.
Well, because if you didn't do that, then all of a sudden you'd be doing something else because it's running in the background.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden, bang, all this output would appear on your screen and you go, oh, what's going on? Oh.
Which is
right.
probably what I would say.
It sounds like Mary.
Oh.
And you can also do other things like set the timeout limit with -T
Mm-hmm.
or just request the header instead of the entire page with -I. And there's several other switches, so refer to the man
Okay.
page for all of those. And there it is, a brief intro to Apache Bench.
All right.
Thanks. We'll have to sit on that. Okay. Well, thank you, Matt. Seriously, that was interesting, and I can see how that would be a very useful tool, though, if you're trying to just test a site. So
Are you sure that didn't break your website? Your benchmarking?
I did run 1 million requests at it with a concurrency of 100 earlier.
Oh, yeah?
in
Did
the
you?
week, yeah. And I was watching the server at the time. I was logged into the server via SSH, and my load was up like 135 on an 8-core machine.
Wow.
Wow.
It was pretty hard, heavy load.
All
Okay.
right.
All right.
All right. Well,
I guess we're gonna move on to.
move on to
Now it's time for Mary's quiz show. Is it alive?
Yes. Is it
Is it
alive? We ask that of Matt each week. Just kidding. We don't either.
I'm a little sleepy most weeks.
Yeah, well, that's true. But anyway, let me just get myself quickly set up here, and I'll.
Let me sit next to you so I can see all the answers.
Yeah, I've got to make it smaller.
Here,
All right,
no,
so
I'll turn.
that's what you guys.
all right.
Matt's too
Here.
far away. He's too far away. It's too
There, and
small.
I'll take my glasses.
All right. So, is it alive or is it a discontinuation notice? And
What?
I'll explain. It's Twist Week. Is it a distro discontinuation notice? So now during this segment of the show, I challenged Matt and Tony to identify whether a Linux distro is alive or dead. Every other week, every other episode, every other time I do this, there we go. I think I've got it now. I twist the concept and challenge Matt and Tony to decide if the named entity is a Linux distro or something else. This week is Twist Week, and I challenged Matt and Tony to identify the Linux distro with the correct distribution discontinuation notice. So I'm going to read a notice, and you got to tell me which distro belong to this notice. In other words, these distros are closing down
Or closed.
or close. Yeah. And extra credit will be given if you know whether it's alive or dead. That's a joke because they're all dead.
They're all dead, yeah.
So you guys are going to get 5 points each right out of the gate. Maybe it's 6. Okay. All right. So now here are the possible choices. Okay, and I'll read them each as often as you want. Storm Linux, Kandara, Immunix, Evil Entity, Shabdix, and Beehive. All right, here's the first one. We never became profitable. A big reason for this may have been the competition from NSA Security Enhanced Linux, which had about the biggest name there is in electronic security behind it, and started getting all the Linux security buzz almost from the day it was released.
Caldera.
Which, that's not on the list, Tony.
You just
I'm taking away a point. No, just kidding. It's Storm Linux, Kandara, Immunix, Evil Entity, Shabdix, or Beehive.
Immunix.
No, it's read it one at a time.
The distros or the notice?
Yeah, distros.
All right. Storm Linux, Kandara, Immunix.
Immunix. Oh, Matt, you said Munich. Oh, I thought you said Munich. All right. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that one.
All right, you're both correct. All right, the next one is yes, it's true. Our distro is dead. It is dead because we have lost our leader. The distro was ready for a new release, except for a few key scripts. But after more than 3 months of waiting for our leader to return, those of us that remained and worked so long have had to give up.
Whoa.
So is that Storm Linux, Kandara, Evil Entity, Shabdix, or Beehive?
Shabdix.
Beehive.
Wrong. It's Evil Entity.
Oh. Oh, you know, I had a feeling it was.
That was where I went.
That's what they all say.
Yeah.
That's what they all say. All right, here's the next one. If you got redirected here trying to get to our distro, well, it's gone for good. Really, probably. My primary reason for starting a Linux distribution at the time was simply that Red Hat, SUSE, and yes, Debian were full of crap in the base install, and we didn't need or want when building servers for our server farm. Who said that? Was it Storm Linux, Kandara, Shabdix, or Beehive?
Kandara.
Wrong. It was Beehive.
Oh.
All right, next one. Dear visitor, thank you very much for your interest in our distro. Obviously, I'm saying our distro in place of the name, which I accidentally almost read. We regret to announce that in light of the weakness in the financial markets, we are unable to secure additional funding for our company. Accordingly, despite our technological achievements, our distro has suspended its operations and has gone into hibernation mode. Since all of our distro's employees are regrettably laid off, we can no longer offer support. All right, is that Storm Linux, Kandara, Shabdix?
Kandara.
Wrong. It was Storm Linux.
Oh.
It was Stormix Technologies was the company. You guys are just not doing all that well.
We're just sticking with one distribution until that's the answer.
All right, here's another one. We are afraid to announce that we will dissolve our distro as of July 15, 2002. Although this is a sudden decision, we would kindly like to ask for your understanding, even if it will impose trouble to the users and supporters. Was that Kandara or Shabdix?
Kandara.
You're both correct.
Had to be eventually.
All right, here's the last one.
Hey, Tony, I bet we get this one right.
Oh.
The development of our distro, the Iranian Knoppix-based live CD with full support for Farsi, has been discontinued, basically due to many personal reasons, and more importantly, lack of interest in our distro among the many intended audience, that is Iranians. The original team developing it has been disintegrated. That's what they said. And currently, there are no plans to produce a new version.
Shabdix.
You guys got it right. So I think you both got 3-3.
All right.
All right. So join us next time for another edition of Is It Alive?
Dun, 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 dun.
All right. Thank you both.
All right. You know what I just thought of? You guys were talking about that author that you guys got that book, Michael Lewis.
Yes.
Michael Lucas? Mhm.
Lucas.
Yes.
He is presenting at Mug next week.
Yes, I
Or-
know. I have already
Yeah, not
taken the
next week,
first
but the
3
next
hours
week.
of my shift off at work, so I can be there.
Have you?
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
he's doing the pseudo talk. You're
When-
doing it wrong.
When is that?
It's
Tuesday?
December
Right?
6th. Yep, Tuesday, December 9th.
Oh, okay. So it's a week from this Tuesday.
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to put that on my calendar. I may show up. How much do I have to pay
Alright.
to get in?
Nothing.
It's nothing. You don't have to pay to get in.
Oh. Well, how much does it cost to join?
If you want to be a member, it's $35 for a year.
Okay. There you go. All right.
And they have
Maybe I'll do
cookies and pop, and that's
that. Well, that's
per
the
donation. But
Okay. Sure. All right.
all right.
Well, thanks for that bit of news, because that'll
Yeah.
be good to know.
So if anybody out there is going to be in Michigan,
In the
Southeast Michigan,
Farmington Hills area.
yeah,
Mhm.
on December 9th around 6 p.m., come and see us. All three of us will be there.
Yeah. All right.
Call me and remind me. Or I
All
might
right.
forget.
Okay.
All right. So I guess we're on to
It's listener feedback time.
listener feedback. And that number is 734-258-7009.
And was there any?
Over the
We had
holiday.
nothing.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I think there's a few people that reposted our post about the last show being released, but that was about it.
Okay.
So thank you for helping really get the word out.
Mm-hmm.
And let us know what you think.
Yeah, we must not have really messed anything up because that's when we get most of our feedback. When we really screw up.
Speak for yourself. Just kidding. Oh.
I kind of was.
All right.
All right, so I guess we're going on to music this week.
Yeah.
Um,
So what do you got for us? What do you got for us,
Did
Tony?
you see DOD dummy in the chat there?
No.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Switch
Give
over
it,
to it.
hand in your Linux card, Tony.
Oh, that's funny. All right.
We're gonna go with my favorite. Do you guys remember who that is?
Nine Inch Nails.
No. Brad Sucks.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
Brad
yeah,
sucks.
yeah.
And
Yep.
what happened here? Why didn't it bring them up? Hold on.
Well, and actually, how many do
Artists.
you know offhand? How many CDs or albums that they've got? They've released. How many?
Yeah. They
offhand?
have 3 different albums that they
Okay.
released.
Which one are you considering today?
They're
Well, he probably isn't considering the entire album.
No, I mean from which to pick a song.
Oh,
I'm
Right.
sorry. I left that very important clause off that sentence.
how about Sick as a Dog? Because I think I'm coming down with a cold.
Oh, and I'm sitting right next to him.
Yeah, you're my buffer, Mary.
Yeah. All right. So.
Saying hello on the down low, religions and guns and ammo. In my mind, I make my mind up. I don't mean to take your time up. In my heart, I know the real trick. Baby, I know that you make me sick. Sick as a dog.
All right. Good.
Sing it, Tony. Sing it.
Okay.
All right.
I think that's a good one for just flinging it
Yeah.
out there to the fates.
Yeah. All right. So Sick as a Dog by Brad Sucks.
You know, one of our guys at work that leads our sysops team,
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
his name's Brad. I gotta ask him if he's ever listened to Brad Sucks.
You should. It's actually a pretty good album, or a pretty good band. They're out
Yeah.
of Ottawa, Canada.
Okay.
But anyway, you know what? I also thought about it. We can throw it in at this time, and not for our live people, but for the
Mhm.
edited show.
Mhm.
Is from OLF. We had those live times when we sat around and talked. Well, we had almost 45 minutes of recording, of usable recording,
Mhm.
and I only put in about 25 or 30 minutes from that one day. And because our show's running slightly short today, then I figured we'd throw in
We
another
ruined that
part.
for everybody and play more. No,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
kidding.
It's this is
At the
from
very end.
yeah
or now?
yeah I'll
At
just
the
throw it
very-
in now, and it'll be from that first night, Friday night, with the happy hour.
Really, you got that much usable audio from Friday night?
Yeah.
It was kind
Yeah,
of.
there was a little over 10 minutes with just is it Karen from O'Reilly?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
And I
yeah.
had cut that out from previously because I wanted to be able to put the whole thing in,
Mhm.
and that was just a good stopping point. So we'll throw it in now, which is really interesting. We're gonna have to get a hold of her, and she can come on for an interview. She has already told us she would.
Yeah, let's
Um,
do that. I think it would be interesting to
Well,
interview
you're gonna
somebody from
send her
the publishing.
another email, Tony?
I will.
Did you send her one already?
I said the
Three.
day of. Well, it ended up only one of them went to her
Oh.
because
Okay.
I kept on typing her. I was typing it in as we're walking, and I kept on typing it wrong, and it kept on coming to us because I included us on the email.
Oh,
but
but she never got
she
it.
never got those
Oh,
other.
Are you
okay.
sure she got the one of
I don't know. We should check again.
them?
Do you have her card?
I do somewhere,
I think
Okay.
I have her card in my wallet.
Okay.
and if I look back, I can figure out what. her
I just
email
think it would
was.
be an interesting interview to talk to somebody from that perspective.
Yeah.
Open source publications.
Yep. So she's talking about the one project she's working on, and take a listen. All right.
Well, thanks for doing that, Tony.
Yeah. So so you've been listening to the Sunday Morning Linux Review. This
Wait a
was
minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
what? Is there something you need to add
No, there's something I. What are we doing for the outro?
next time?
All right.
See you next time.
All right.
I'm so confused.
And then we have to record our in this episode segment.
Yeah.
All right.
So you've been listening to the Sunday Morning Linux Review. This was episode 140.
Kimchi.
Deep kimchi, and it was bad.
All right. This is Tony Bemis.
Matt Enders
And Mary Tomich.
saying, "See you next time."
That was easy.
All right.
See how easy that was. All right, let's.
And I actually think that was the best one we've done.
Yeah,
since
you
we've
very,
gone.
just a very kind of casual. See you next time.
So,
That kind of leaves it open. We don't know when next time is.
I'm open to keeping it. See you next time. Now.
Yeah, I like
good.
that,
That's
Matt.
the best
You-
one so far.
Yeah.
All right.
That,
It's uncomplicated. It's easy to say.
Yes.
see you next
Even
time.
when you're drinking a lot of beer, it'll be easy.
That's right.
I promise not to show up
Well,
drunk
we-
all the time.
Yeah. All right. So we're gonna do
right.
that record or
Yeah.
the intro.
So if you're listening to us live or on YouTube, what we're going to do now is record a short intro about what you have already heard at this point. But
And splice it up at the
it'll
beginning.
be, in our edited show that we release on our website. It'll
Mhm.
be right at the beginning.
So that's why it may sound confusing,
And
like
Ma-
you're in a time warp.
Yeah, and Mary does this recording
All right.
All right.
because she's got the best voice.
Let me give a throaty laugh.
All
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 right.
right. So on November 30th, 2014, SMLR.
That's right. In this episode of Sunday Morning Linux Review, we're going to get a tooltip from Matt Enders on how to keep your Apache server
Tested. Testing.
tested. Yeah.
Should we start over?
Yes, we should. On how to keep your Apache server tested.
How about
Oh, the humanity.
Mary? You,
Yeah.
I'll say the
All
I'll say the
right.
date.
Yeah.
You do that little thing, and then when you go throw it over to Matt, and he says what he did.
Can you I couldn't handle it apparently, but you probably
I'll
can.
try.
All right.
All right. All right. So today on November. What?
It's you. It's your turn. You have to
I
start.
did. I started talking.
But there was a pause. I
Yeah,
thought
that
you
we're
just
like,
waiting for us.
isn't he gonna sleep?
No, I was given a pause.
Hi, on the
so I
November
could
30th
find it in the
edition of
edit.
Sunday
All
Morning
right, all
Linux
right, all right,
Review.
all right.
Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead. Count it in.
3, 2, 1. On November 30th, 2014. All right.
That will be you, Mary.
Okay, I thought you were going to do it. Okay, I can do it now. All right.
No, you say this is like what we're going to talk about on the show, and
Yeah,
one
yeah.
of the things is going to be the tooltip, and then I'm going to tell you what the
Yeah.
tooltip is.
All right. Let's try it one more time. Oh, this is painful. All right.
Is anybody still with us?
All right. Let's do it again.
So on November 30th, 2013.
That's right. This episode, we're going to have a tool tip from Matt Enders,
That's going to be about Apache Bench on how to test your Apache web server.
how to keep it tested. We'll also let you know what the Linux convention scene is like this month, whether we've got any conventions for you to go to or any conferences. And we'll also see whether Tony will keep his crown as Is It Alive champion. I think he had 2 in a row, I believe. Tony, wasn't that right?
That's right.
Yeah. So we'll see if you keep that.
Never. You're going down, Tone Man.
And along with our normal
News
and distros and kernel and everything else.
Well, all right.
And then our intro. All right. All right. So I think we're done now.
All right.
All right, we're gonna have
That
to
worked
tighten.
out.
We're gonna have to tighten that up.
Do you want me to type out a script? Or Mary,
No, I
you
can.
being the project manager, you should type out a
I
script.
emailed. Did you get my email? I emailed you saying, "What is your tool tip?" Because I wanted to work. I wanted to
When
look.
did you email me that?
All right.
Yesterday, twice I emailed
Oh,
you.
no, I was getting drunk.
All right. Let's keep the domestic
Okay.
dispute down while the children are watching.
Because what I wanted to do is to look it
No,
up and
because
just say,
seriously,
okay.
I woke up.
Goodbye.
Okay.
I woke.
YouTube.
Okay,
Goodbye.
bye. We're gonna take this offline.